Last week, we got to experience a significant 3-hour chunk of the upcoming Assassin's Creed Mirage. The content covered a few key moments from the opening chapters and a mid-game investigation leading up to the assassination of a key target. Refreshingly, the game is a return to the classic stealth and assassination-focused gameplay of the original trilogy, a sort of modern take on the classic formula that made the series so popular back in the day.
We could use some eyes around the city.
I'll see what I can do.
She looks important. You should haggle for a better fee.
Ah, Basim, what timing? Did you get it?
Without a fuss.
Give it here.
You are one of them.
Assassin's Creed Mirage places you in the boots of the young and ambitious street thief Basim, living on the streets of Baghdad during the Islamic Golden Age.
As though it was delivered this morning.
A period of cultural, scientific and economic growth centered in the city. Son of a dedicated public servant cast aside by a corrupt government, he eventually gets recruited and trained by the Hidden Ones, before returning to Baghdad to strike at a network of agents assisting in the Order of the Ancients. This Order of the Ancients manipulates leaders of the Caliphate.
Died in this pursuit. I doubt a street thief would fare much better.
Then let me join you. You have 2 openings.
If you recognize that name, that's because the overarching story follows on from the events of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, leaning into the genetic memory anima science angle with the never-ending hunt for ancient artifacts and all the weirdness that brings. The Hidden Ones are still intent on preserving humanity's independence through dispassionate murder, while the Ancients of the Order of the Ancients all reveal tragic backstories and words of wisdom in their final moments. When combined with Basim's growth from a brash and arrogant thief to a professional assassin, there's a lot of parallels with the very first Assassin's Creed, parallels that extend to the gameplay too. Assassin's Creed Mirage has traditional narrative and tutorial-heavy opening chapters designed to introduce you to the world, the cast, and the basic mechanics. But upon Basim's return to Baghdad, the focus shifts to investigating leads, assassinating key targets, and uncovering an actual member of the Order of the Ancients. As in the original game, and with Unity and Syndicate to a lesser degree, this means working with local contractors to uncover information about the target through several sources. Almost all are going to ask something of Basim in return. It's a familiar structure, but each investigation and assassination introduces new districts of Baghdad, expands the cast, and slowly unravels more of the overarching story.
Order they fulfilled for the Dayadat al-Mal. They made a beautiful robe for the treasure with intricate Eastern embroidery. Open your eyes to that.
Eastern ware. Thank you, Kong. The treasurer is likely a foreigner from the East.
As for what you'll be doing, Assassin's Creed Mirage isn't going to offer many surprises to fans of the series, but the reduction in RPG elements, the mission objectives, AI patrol behaviors, and the verticality of Baghdad all shift the focus back to stealth. Progressively unlocked abilities and tools expand your tactical options. Free running up and across the rooftops remains the safest way to travel. Convenient spots like piles of hay and rooftop shelters allow you to break line of sight or hide your victims, while stealth returns, allowing you to avoid notice by sitting on benches, walking among groups of citizens, or paying a group of mercenaries to create a distraction.
Not telling me exactly what it is we are missing.
If things don't go right and you don't want to fall back on the generous autosave option, combat is riskier than before.
Back off, you shit!
Though Basim is an expert swordsman and successful parries open basic foes for instant kills.
You won't escape! Got you! Nothing to worry about. Keep up!
There was no shortage of optional missions and historical sites to distract me, but the core investigation missions felt suitably diverse and fleshed out.
Will not be happy. Neither will I. I know that. The perfume creation is complex.
We are already doing our best.
You'll often be studying patrol paths and vision cones to sneak into restricted areas or pick off guards one by one. You'll collect notes and items for interested parties, solve some simple traversal puzzles, trail suspects to eavesdrop on conversations and identify new leads. And finally, assassinate key targets by working your way into their trust or getting the literal drop on them. It's a familiar enough list, but Assassin's Creed Mirage plays much better than its early inspirations and adds more modern flourishes like an upgraded focus ability that lets you chain assassinations together quickly to clear a room. This pre-release build seemed like it was in good shape from a bug perspective, but some long-running annoyances persisted and there were potential accessibility issues. I still found myself getting stuck on geometry and NPCs while fleeing, experienced several confused inputs that left Basim jumping in and out of hay at the least opportune moments, struggled to see distant object highlights when using eagle vision, and I could have used a hint or more environmental cues during the traversal puzzles, nothing game breaking but potentially frustrating to some degree. As Assassin's Creed Mirage is releasing on last gen and current gen consoles, it looks great but it doesn't push the boundaries. Ubisoft has long since mastered the recreation of historical cities and landscapes with impressive attention to fine details and enough variety to ensure you rarely spot repeated assets. The reactive crowds look a little stiff, but when they're combined with great ambient audio, background chatter and a fantastic soundtrack, it helped to create a dynamic and believable look at historic Baghdad. Perhaps more importantly, Assassin's Creed Mirage does its best to immerse you in its world with a quality voice cast that uses heavily accented English and frequent traditional Arabic phrases.
Is a sword not a coarse weapon for a hidden one?
As hidden ones, we must become proficient with a number of weapons. You never know how a fight will escalate.
If you're comfortable with subtitles, you can even play the entire game in Arabic. Now, I can't speak as an authority, but it works well to minimize that disconnect you often get between a historical setting and modern writing.
Well, yes, I believe so.
You are here in body, but are you here in mind and soul?
As someone who has drifted away from the IP as they increase the scope and length, I was impressed by this tighter gameplay and more focus on narrative. But how you feel about it might depend on your prior experience. If you long for a return to the reduced scope and tighter gameplay of the earlier games, Assassin's Creed Mirage forces you to actually play like an assassin. If, on the other hand, your experience is limited to the recent trilogy, you might want to treat Assassin's Creed Mirage as a lower-priced curiosity that will give you a taste of where the IP came from in the first place.
At its heart, even now, your poison spreads along the East Road to lands untouched by the Order's venom. I hear you hunger for a hairpin, one up for auction at the Da'irat al-Mal. I will play the rival for your heart's desire and draw you from the shadows.
Thanks to Ubisoft for giving us some hands-on time with Assassin's Creed Mirage. The game is scheduled to release on 5 October for PS4, PS5, Xbox and PC. As usual, thanks for stopping by and giving this a watch. Please do consider liking and subscribing for future content like this. Also visit www.glitch.online for more gaming and tech news, reviews and previews. Until next time, farewell.